This is Andy Purwell for Boxing News. I'm joined by Big Baby Jarrell Miller here in Saudi Arabia. Jarrell, how are you? How are you finding your time here in Riyadh so far?
Great, man. It's beautiful. It's great. People are lovely, respectful, really relaxed, calm, ready to turn up this week. Well, I'm just me. I'm chill.
How are you finding the adjustment time-wise?
Not bad. I made sure I've been out here for about a week already. You know, some guys flew in yesterday and today. I was like, y'all crazy, man. So for me, I've been here a week. I made sure I got out here, try to get adjusted pretty well. Been training, so I feel good.
Jarrell, I think it's safe to say you've had quite a turbulent career, especially over this last 3 or 4 years. You go into Saturday night. Do you feel the pressure to really take this opportunity, grasp it with both hands?
Oh yeah, I mean definitely. I mean, I have to go in there and win. You know, there's if no doubts about it that every fight is a do or die situation. You know, long overdue. But like I said, sometimes you know the mind and body need a rest anyway. You know, Mike Tyson had his couple years off. Ali had his couple years off. Floyd took 2 years off. You know, those guys already made some bank. You know, but it is what it is. You know, I take it as what it is right now. Learning experience, dealing with a lot of, you know, backstabbing people in this industry, and I see a lot for what it is right now. You know, one day I'll tell my full story. It is what it is. But at this point, these hands are going to tell another story Saturday night.
Obviously, a lot of people talk about kind of your past issues with regards to testing and your failed tests. When you move into this week, what type of testing procedures have you had to go through? Have you found yourself kind of being tested more regularly? Have you had VADA knocking on your door pretty much every day?
I mean, yeah, once I signed a VADA, I mean, they hit me like 3 times in 1 week. Then it was like five different tests in like 7-8 days, you know. But like I said, Mark Goodman's not a bad person, you know what I mean? It's part of the business. But like I said, when you're new to the testing, it's a lot of gray area. Once I understand how to go about doing things and who to talk to and chain of command, it's not hard to pass these tests, man. It's not hard at all. It's just you have to have a good lawyer and you have to have, you know, your little doctor notes and all this. It's a lot of BS too at the same time. But if you don't understand it, it causes a lot of problems. And I don't understand it because even my 2 years, 3 years off, I was being tested for like 2 years. You know what I'm trying to say? So people don't hear about that. They only hear about the bad stuff. They hear about the good stuff. But it is what it is. You know what I mean? I didn't expect anything less. You know, I had to jump through a lot of hoops. But it is what it is. We're here now, and I'm going to take it on Dubois.
Take it out on Dubois. Obviously, I remember the announcement press conference. It was certainly when you started talking, everybody's ears perked up. You certainly brought the press conference to life, to say the least. When you looked into Daniel's eyes, though, what did you see?
He was shaking, actually, to tell the truth. You know, he's definitely nervous, intimidated for sure in some ways. But like I said, he's been on a big stage already before. So I think he's going to show up for the first few rounds, you know. But the thing about me is the longer the fight goes, the stronger I get. You know what I mean? So I don't think he's going to sit there and trade shots with me. I think he's going to try and box and whatever he's going to try and do. If he comes forward, he dies. If he runs, he gets tired, he still dies. So it doesn't matter what he does. He's not going to bother me. You know, I've been with tougher guys than he has. I've been fought in other countries more than he has. You know, I've been kicked upside the head before and hasn't fazed me. So I know what I bring to the table. I know my mentality is way stronger than he is, 110%. No, it's a shrimp going against a shark, and the shark is going to win.
In the past, on the back of Daniel's defeats to Joe Joyce and then with Alexander Usyk, some people have thrown that word quit around with him. Do you see Daniel as somebody who has that within him? I don't like to say it as a reporter, but it's a word which people have bandied about.
You know, you can call them 2-time quitters, you know what I mean? You quit once, okay. You quit twice. The third time going to be a charm. You know what I'm trying to say? So, yeah, I mean, you look at them 2 fights. There's always an excuse going on in the back of his mind. I heard a lot of things about his camp. You know, even the sparring partners been getting his behind a little bit. He's mentally distracted a lot. Like I said before, I didn't pick the fight. You know, he picked the fight, to tell the truth, you know. So for him to go against me, his trainer, Don Charles, made a bad mistake. His manager, his dad made a bad mistake. So, you know, they know something that we don't. But I'll tell you one thing's going to happen, he's going to get his ass whooped. Plain and simple.
Where does your career go beyond Saturday night? You have your hand raised, you move forwards in heavyweight division. Where do you go?
We're already in talks. You know, I was supposed to fight Manuel Char. That's still a possibility in the works. You know, they already told me that things go according to plan. We'll be back February, March. So Manuel Char is definitely who I want next. If not, AJ. No, outside those 2 names, I don't really know you know, because Tyson and Usyk are going to be tied up for a little while. But those are the two names I want next on my table.
We'll bring Anthony Joshua into the equation, but before we do, Eddie Hearn, somebody you'll be very familiar with, he's obviously come out recently of you two having kind of some words exchanged on stage. Can you, from your point of view, tell people what happened? Because obviously Eddie's spoken to me.
It's the truth, man. You know, I had to go press that fool, you know what I mean? But, no, we had some words. It wasn't that serious, though, and, you know...
So Eddie said that you said you was going to get people to run up on him if ever he was up in New York.
And then when he come in New York, you know, make somebody visit him real quick, say hi. You know what I mean? But it's how can I say? I like Eddie still. You know, I don't want to beat him up just yet. But I think me and him have a love-hate relationship. You know what I mean, for sure. Because, like, one of them dudes you just be mad at, and then when y'all see each other, y'all laugh, you know. There's plenty of times I want to kick his ass. But he'll say some funny shit, and I say some funny shit, and it's like, yo, whatever. You know what I mean? But, you know, there's a couple things I can't say about Eddie when things were going good. You know, he pays well. He pays on time. You know, and there's some gray areas we need to sit down as men and talk about eventually. Well, I think will happen, you know, because we have been communicating. And like I said, I'm still an Eddie fan at some point. But it has to be business at the end of the day. And it is what it is, man. I said it's boxing, entertainment. Sometimes you don't like each other, sometimes you do. Sometimes you can work together, sometimes you can't. But at the end of the day, it is what it is.
The footage that got released of you two speaking on stage, it did seem quite serious at the time. Yeah. How serious did it feel in the moment for yourself?
For me, like I said before, it's like when you see somebody, you're like, I just want to squash his head. And then y'all start talking, it's like, you know, he's a jokester, you know. You know what I mean? It's like it's like I have the charm when I get behind the camera. Eddie has that charm to, you know, kind of walk into a firefight and kind of like, you know, throw ice water in a little bit. You know what I mean? So, like I said, I wasn't super mad, but like I said, once we started talking a little bit, it was like some fights is like whatever, bro. You know, bigger fish to fry. You know what I mean? And like I said, we've been talking, and it's at this point right now, I feel like I got a lot to prove, and once I prove everybody wrong, you know, Eddie will be one of those guys to be like, you know what, let's make something happen again, you know, because in the days, you got to look at the demographic of boxing. It's all business. You know what I mean? Only two American heavyweights anybody gives a shit about is me and Deontay Wilder, you know what I mean? And you got to think about it just strategically, where's AJ going to go after this fight? You know what I'm trying to say? So it sometimes your enemy of your enemy is not really your enemy, it's a friend. So sometimes you got to, we say have a term, you got to circle back sometimes and how can we fix this, how can we make this work? Because, you know, time is of the essence. And, you know, we're not getting younger. And there's a lot of, you know, energy around that fight still. I think a lot of build-up for that fight still. People ask about, you know, the Sky Sports face-off all the time. So there's a lot of commercial marketability in that fight still. And people definitely want to see it. You know, even if AJ loses again, I think it's definitely a fight that can be made.
Is that something which you've had any further talks with your team in terms of Anthony Joshua? You know, I know that for him, you're not necessarily in his line of sight at the minute, but from what you've exchanged in terms of a press conference and back and forth, again, he did get people interested.
I mean, I'm always going to be line of sight. You know what I mean? If AJ wants to be three-time world champion, anybody want to take him serious, you're going to have to fight one of these, especially me, you know, at some point. You got to be a killer. You know what I mean? Because you can't run from Deontay but so much. Tyson Usyk going to be tied up. America don't know shit about AJ. They heard of him. They know him got his ass whooped. You know, never came back. So it's like, okay, in America, we don't give a shit about AJ. It's plain and simple. And the fans in England are starting to get fed up with AJ from what I've been testing the waters and hearing. So at some point, he's either going to have to bring the kill out and fight somebody that can bring it to him, you know, excite the media, excite the interviews, excite the fight up, because this shit been stalemate. It is what it is, and that's proof in the pudding. Look at the numbers, bro. I'm not lying to hype my shit up. I'm giving you proof. Look it up. So if AJ wants to have any relevancy to really make that super pay-per-view fight outside of a Deontay and AJ, there's no one else better than me, brother.
It has seemed to be that when you and Anthony Joshua crossed paths, and in that press conference again for the announcement of Day of Reckoning, when you were going at it, you brought something out of AJ which maybe people don't see that often anymore. We see a different side to Anthony Joshua now. Why do you think it is that you seem to bring that out of Anthony Joshua?
Because I know when to smell bullshit. You got to understand something. When everybody was playing him as a goody two-shoe, got all that shit, I was the one that brought it out of him. I'm the one that kind of, you know, got him out of his element. Got him off his straight and arrow kind of path. And Andy was able to, take full action of that opportunity. So, like I said, he's never been right since the Andy Ruiz fight, and I don't think he's gonna be right. You know what I mean? 'Cause at some point when guys see what I see now, they're gonna keep breaking him down. So that's what it is with this. I just gotta get him before he finally quits and retire.
I have to ask Jarrell, when you look back on Andy's success against Anthony Joshua, how much regret do you have over that chapter in your career, and obviously what you'd kind of gone through with the foul tests?
I mean, at this point, you can't look at regret. You gotta look at it as a lesson. Listening to the wrong people, being around the wrong people, and then the media themselves didn't do their homework. A lot of the media, like yourself, they don't do their homework. They don't actually do journalized, research. You know what I mean? If you understand what I took, none of it was ever steroids. You know what I'm trying to say? But it was a banned substance, yes. But people don't do their homework. And like I said, I have all documentation. And one day when the time is right, I'm going to release it when the time is right. But right now, guys don't care about the truth. Most guys that interview guys don't give a shit about the truth. They just care about whatever clickbait highlight they can use and run with it. So at this point, I take it as it is, and a man of faith in God. I don't look at it as a regret. I look at it as a lesson. I lost a lot of people in my life the last couple of years that maybe didn't deserve to be around me if I was successful at that point. But like I said, I'm still healthy. I'm still young. I'm 34. I feel great. I'm getting in tip-top shape again. And like I said, this fight is going to be more than this reckoning. It's revenge, it's redemption, it's rebuke. I'm just going to come kick ass, do what I always do.
Joel, just whilst I've got you, before we wrap this up, a few fights I want to get your thoughts on. Obviously, we mentioned Anthony Joshua. What do you make of his bout with Otto-Wallin?
I don't think it's an easy fight. He had a hard time taking Helenius out, 6 rounds? And Helenius was 7 rounds, and I was like 11. The guy had, 7-day notice? Come on, bro. Jermaine Franklin, he went the distance with. Jermaine was, tagging him here. They looked pretty good, and Jermaine's not a heavy hitter. You'll find a guy that had a pretty decent camp. I've sparred with him. Moves a lot. He's not a punk. He's going to go in there and bang. He's going to swing. It's not an easy fight for AJ. So if he's going to think that persona of his chin in the air, I'm AJ, nobody gives a fuck about that shit. As soon as I put them gloves on, you use a punk bitch. You know what I mean? And Otto-Wallin believes he has the opportunity and he has the strength to beat him. So I give that fight a 50-50 in my book.
Obviously, away from that one, another big heavyweight fight, Wilder and Joseph Parker. Again, your thoughts, please, Jarrell.
Yeah, everybody know that Wilder's money's the right hand. You stay away from the right hand and box him, you win the fight. Parker has the speed, the ring generalship to outbox Deontay. If Parker stays with the right hand, Parker wins the fight. If he doesn't, he loses. So it's a 50-50 in my fight. Parker's my brother. I got nothing but love for him. And Deontay, I can't stand his ass, but in that fight, you got to be realistic. It's a 50-50, and the best man win,
There's been obviously a lot of talk of Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder having a deal agreed for March time.
Yeah, that fight is not agreed upon. That's all bullshit.
What makes you say that?
Because I know it's bullshit, bro. I mean, there's no... From the time who I was talking to about it in England, I think over almost a year ago, they were talking about it. Talking to my boy David Adelaide in England, and a couple other guys in England, and I was like, yo, that fight's never going to happen, bro. You know what I mean? That Deontay and AJ fight is not happening. And nobody can, that's going to happen. I'm like, bro, it's not happening. And they're using it as media highlight again, but ain't shit time.
If it did ever happen, what do you think would go down in the ring?
If AJ can box for 12 rounds, he wins. Of course, he's not his stamina ain't that great. After the 5th round, he kind of dies down. Then if Deontay clocks him, his night lights out. And AJ's chinny now, so actually they both kind of chinny to tell you the truth. But I think Deontay's a little more durable than AJ. So, I think Deontay still takes the fight and knocks him out eventually, but we'll see.
And just a final one before we wrap this up. Mr. Tyson Fury, Mr. Alexander Usyk, undisputed bout. One eye on it, I imagine. Your take, please.
I know everybody's looking at Tyson Fury's last outing. He don't look that great, and Usyk will outbox him. But, Tyson fought a big guy, 270, 280 plus, that's strong, knows how to use his body and muscle him around. I don't think that's the same, strategy Usyk is going to be able to use. So I'm still pushing that win to be with Tyson. Bigger guy, he's going to come forward, You know, he's a decent chin. He can take a shot, gives a bunch of punches out. Yeah, so I got Tyson in that fight still. You know, I'm riding for the homie. I think he got that one.
Jarrell, just before we wrap this up and leave a final word to yourself, what would you like to leave on? What would you like to say to your fans, America, UK? Anything you'd like to leave?
Hey, listen, man, we all know, man, from the streets to the top, ain't nothing goes as planned sometimes, but you got to keep punching, keep kicking until you don't stop ticking. So don't quit, keep moving forward, follow your dreams, believe in God, baby. Keep it going.
Jarrell, thanks for speaking to me. Good luck on Saturday night if I don't speak to you.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.